Welcome everyone to the Serpent Tarot for another pick a card reading, one of the quick check-in type readings that I occasionally do to put in a reading in between the one every 3 days type of schedule that I generally have. And these usually come about because I feel called to do them in some way, or because there's an astrological transit I want to look at or something like that. In this case, I felt called to do it because of the receiving of a recent Kickstarter campaign deck that just arrived literally last night, to my great delight, which is the Dream Vision Tarot. And what you see here as part of your choice about what reading to go to are 4 of the cards from this tarot. And I wanted to use them because I think the imagery in them will really clearly say why I felt inspired to do this reading and why I chose these. And that is that in the artwork, and I don't know whether this was a deliberate art design by the creator or not, but for me, I get a distinct feeling when I look at the sort of characters that turn up in many of the cards of interdimensional races, of aliens, if you like, of other species, or very, very high order angelic or spiritual beings. And it's because of the imagery. And so I thought, why not do a quick check-in reading to really delve into that energy and that connection that I feel so strongly in this beautiful deck, to see what messages interdimensional beings may have for you at this point in time. So we're going to have a look at what species may be connecting with you, or if we get any species that are potentially troubling or challenging, it may be just to let you be aware that the issues or the energies around that are around you and are coming from that higher order beings to let you know that and to help you. Once we've sort of isolated what that looks like and the sort of issue in broad terms, we're going to use this tarot. We'll shuffle all these cards back into the tarot, but we'll use this tarot to look at what are the key messages that they're trying to bring to you, and also what blockages or challenges might be existing in your life at the moment between you and that kind of guidance. And then we'll sort of finish up with a range of different oracles using, again, that connection to see what other advice or support they can give you. So this could cover any number of topics depending upon what their message is for you. The other thing I should say before I go into the choice of the piles is you'll notice that I actually have the numbers here, and that was the suggestion of a viewer. I thought it was a great suggestion. I hadn't thought of it before, but just to make it very, very clear what I'm talking about in terms of the different piles for anybody who likes to see numbers around that. And what I said to her in her comment, which I received yesterday, was I tend to film quite a lot of readings ahead of time because most of them are timeless. So unless something is anchored to a particular time or an astrological transit, I do tend to do quite a lot ahead of time. At any given stage, I could be theoretically scheduled 2 months or more ahead. So at the moment, as I film this, and that's sort of in the sort of second half of November 2021, I'm scheduled up to close to the end of January in 2022, but I will sometimes bring ones forward, and I'm going to bring this one forward because I feel like I want to put it as one of the ones in between the schedule. So when you see these numbers, I'm going to try and use them in the future, then you'll know that this is one between now and the end of January that's got shuffled up the queue for some reason. Doesn't necessarily mean it's more important than any of the others, but for some reason I felt that I wanted to do it there. And then hopefully after that, into sort of late January and onwards, you'll see this as an addition to help with choosing the pile, if that is of help to anybody. So thank you to that viewer for that suggestion. So beyond the number itself, and that viewer and others might be particularly drawn to a number in these sort of choices. You might have a lucky number or one that you resonate to. As I said, I chose 4 of the beautiful cards from this deck that had very clear alien faces or alien figures to give a bit of an idea of the nature and the feel of the deck, but also hopefully with the imagery, or if you get drawn to particular types of tarot cards, particular suits, major arcana or minor arcana, to help you choose what's the right connection for you. So on pile 1, I have the Magician from the deck. From pile 2, I have the Queen of Swords. From pile 3, I have the Hierophant. And for pile 4, I have the Queen of Pentacles. That doesn't mean the traditional meanings of those tarot cards are going to be what these readings are about. I don't know what they're going to be about yet. We'll see as we go through. But I just thought the imagery is so beautiful and so arresting and so clear that it may help in making your choice. You can, of course, go to more than one reading. There may be more than one message from you, either from the same interdimensional realms or from different interdimensional realms and species. So you do what suits you. When you know what reading or readings you want to go to, the timestamps, as always, will be in the description box below, and I'll see you in your reading. Welcome, Pile 1, to your reading. So as I said in the introduction, we're going to start looking at either what species or connections interdimensionally might be particularly wanting to speak with you, or alternatively what the issue might be. And I think for you it may be the latter, because the two cards that we have here that are about particular species or alien races suggest an issue, which I think is partly to be resolved by your own innate psychic ability, which we'll get to. Because we firstly have the reptilians, and they're connected to the Alpha Draconian race. They are typically seen as the tyrannical, predatory sort of race. They're connected quite often with stories of abductions, as are the Greys. So you have both of these things here. It is possible that people who've come to this reading have had experience with some of the sort of alien abduction type of scenarios. So I'm not getting into whether or not those are a literal physical thing, whether they're a spiritual psychic experience. I'm not really getting into that at this point. And certainly if there's anything triggering about that, then possibly click out of the reading if that does trigger you in any way. But if it's something that you've either suspected or that you're aware of and you're interested in it as a overarching almost example or narrative for what can happen in this world as well too, about tyrannical rule and about those sorts of issues, then I think this is the right reading for you, and it is a reading that is about understanding the impact of that. So I believe that if you look at the energy of these two, the Greys tend to be timid, misunderstood and shy, as this says. They are part of that process of supporting what the sort of reptilian races are connected to doing, but they are not necessarily the ones that initiate it or instigate it. They are more a kind of slave class to a more predatory class. So my sense is that this reading, in terms of the intent of this reading, would not be about some form of predatory alien trying to connect with you through this reading. This would be about you being very aware of the interdimensional aspects of that kind of behavior, and to whatever degree it then replicates into this world. So my sense is of the people who've come to this reading, you are people who are very, very tuned in spiritually to political and power issues and to how they manifest in the world. And I think that a higher order interdimensional connection, which may be a higher order and more benefic race, or it may in fact be the angelic realm I'm getting for some of you, are wanting you to connect more and more to your third eye, because you are meant to have visions, you are meant to be prophetic, you are meant to see this sort of behavior as it is working in the world. So I think that the key message for you is about coming out of a sense of hiding or feeling like you are powerless in that, and understanding that you have great power in your understanding of things, in your capacity to see, to understand the past, and therefore to be able to more accurately predict the future, and to see where there is the abuse of power. So you are somehow connected to that, and that could be in a very political, very powerful role, or it could be on a local level, or it could even be around friends who you feel are caught up in propaganda or brainwashing or any of those sort of things. There's definitely a flavour in this because of these cards turning up around understanding, I guess, the matrix and a spiritual battle in what truth do we have and how do you find truth, and you are somehow someone who's meant to do that. So that's a pretty significant role to have. Let's ask the tarot for a little bit more information about what it is they want you to see or understand about yourself, I think, primarily, but also about the environment that you're in. So I just heard the term sleep or awake. And I think that is saying to some degree it's like you're waking up to something. And it doesn't mean you've really been asleep per se. But it's almost as though there's a whole new order or level of understanding coming to you around these energies and what you can do in that space. Because it looks to me as though you have dealt with the judgments of others that have possibly been very limiting to you. With the Nine of Wands reversed, it's as though you've been in environments where you've had to be very, very careful about what you did, and where bringing things to a conclusion were difficult, and it was very easy to sort of feel emotionally overwhelmed with the King of Cups around whether you could achieve what you were trying to achieve. The environments look like they're very conventional in some way, so whether this is your work environment, your family environment, your friendships, it will depend on everybody who's coming to this reading. But there is something that has halted some of your almost electric energy, and it's had to do with how you process an energy in a highly judgmental environment. But equally, it's saying trust your own judgment. This is the message I think that is coming through. You have this very strong sense of what is the Wheel of Fortune, what is coming, what you are very, very prophetic, but you need to allow yourself to come into the core, and it's a heart core with the King of Cups. It's an empathic core, and to face down, I think, the sort of energies that try to manipulate. This is how it feels. It feels as though you or people around you are in a highly conventional, manipulative environment that is very much of the control mechanisms of the world. And as I say, it could be manifesting at any particular level. And you have a very open heart that has connected to your third eye, to your knowing, and you have a sense of time, but you have constrained yourself with the Knight of Swords reversed, and to some degree Spirit is saying that's not the wrong thing to do. The Knight of Swords, the right way up in this type of environment, could be very dangerous for you, because the Knight of Swords is very quick thinking, and I think you probably are, but I think you control that, but they tend to sort of act before they think it through. They're very mercurial. They do things people don't expect, and I think you have a finely nuanced understanding of the culture and the environment that you're in and the impact that's having on things. But you are coming to an awakening and to a quickening point. There is something about the environment that you're in that is going to call upon the King of Cups, will call upon that great empathy and that emotional understanding, but also the clarity of mind and the control of mind, not to be taken in by the propaganda or this is the way we do things around here. So this is definitely a group where the message is about preparing yourself to bring clarity and a voice to something. So given that, and I think we already have some clue on this, but given that, what are the challenges that you are going to face in bringing this energy through, this understanding through, and being able to articulate it, as I say, in an environment that doesn't look necessarily as awake as you or as ready as you? Pile one. Okay, so firstly, the main challenges for you are probably within your own mind or within the minds and the opinions and the philosophies of others, because we have 4 swords cards there, and then we have the Page of Pentacles reversed. The Page of Pentacles reversed suggests to me that you're in an environment where the philosophy, the beliefs, the politics, whatever it might be, the culture is such that rules over everything and has a tendency not to allow growth and abundance to really come through. It feels very regimented. It feels to me like people who are in a workplace where, for instance, and a workplace is a good example of it, where the rules are everything. And there is almost like a iron grip held on, this is what this culture is and this is what we are, and any truth telling or even any prophecy about whether something is going to really come to fruition is frowned upon. It's like it's not an environment where telling truth to power is really supported in any way, because there's a lot of fear. There's a lot of fear of pain, of bad outcomes, of energy being put in the wrong direction, or of battles. and people tend to step back. People tend to step back rather than taking this energy forward and saying there is a way. And I feel like the Six of Swords here is meant to lead to the Page of Pentacles being turned the right way up by facing what isn't working in this environment, whatever it is. And this could be in a relationship, it could be in friendships, it could be in family. I think for many of you it's in a workplace or a political environment or something like that, but it could be anywhere where the truth of what is going on is not what is being spoken, is not what is being almost desperately clung to as a belief system. And Spirit is saying, and the interdimensional connection for you is saying that there needs to be the preparedness to have the intellectual battle. That is where your strength with your third eye and your capacity to see the consequences of things will be so crucial. You come from your heart rather than philosophically, but you need to use the language of philosophy. You need to use the language of the rules in some way. And you need to bring yourself out from behind the shadows. So there is a part of you that is a little bit like the Greys in that sense of being timid in this environment, not wanting to speak out, but you have a truth that needs to be spoken. And in doing that, you can turn that Page of Pentacles around. But if you understand the environment, processes things, including pain, through a belief structure in some way, then you'll be able to do what you need to do. And if you can articulate that and shift the belief structure, you can shift it away from this more manipulative energy into a more pure and a more open energy. So that's pretty significant what you're needing to do. So let's ask the interdimensional support about what other kind of things can you use, what other sorts of support can there be. So we will go first of all to the stars literally, and we will ask for some advice that's astrological. What astrological energy would be helpful for you to focus on to speak the truth in this difficult environment or in this difficult relationship? If this is a relationship, then there is a lot of power dynamics in it, and the person has almost taken an iron grip on the relationship in defining it, but you have a much clearer view about what's really going on. So Spirit, what astrological energy would be helpful for pile 1? Okay, so the 12th house firstly connects to the third eye here. I think the 12th house is a mysterious house. It is a house of the psychic. It is a house of the spiritual, and it is also the house of what we keep private. So I do feel there's very much a strong message here about you needing to come out from behind the scenes in some way. It's possible with conjunction there to find those who think similarly to you. I think this might be an indication from Spirit that you don't need to do this alone. You will find once you start to articulate something that others will join with you. Others will have seen it too or felt it too. You're just a little bit ahead of other people. And if this is in a relationship, then it suggests that there is a real capacity to recalibrate this relationship and bring it more to one that is joined and a conjunction rather than in opposition, through being more open about how the impact of this philosophy is occurring. Or it may be to bring a new relationship in if the relationship is resonating a lot to that reptilian energy. What I do like to do is look at what planets are involved when there is a aspect. So I'm just going to shuffle the cards again and then deal out till I get 2 planets to see what else we can have as advice. So we have Mars. That doesn't surprise me given that there is so much about power in this. Mars and the Moon. So there you go. So the Moon, I think, is picking up the King of Cups. It is showing that capacity, that open heart energy, which is part of how you are so clear actually in terms of the mental and psychic and telepathic energy, that combining with Mars is the way to deal with this. So it's saying that it's not an open battle you need to do. It's a negotiation, it's a mediation, it's a recalibration. And I think that's why Spirit was so interested in telling you that the way to do it is through the philosophy, because everything is processed through a set of beliefs here. It also suggests that whatever the situation is, if the people can be negotiated to a different way of looking at things, then they will shift. The conjunction can occur. They're more controlling because they are in the grip of a belief structure. And if you can shift that belief structure, then that can help. So let's have a look at what gifts you may have beyond obviously the sort of telepathy and prophecy sort of elements that can help with this. Okay, so this is really talking about where you are spiritually. It doesn't surprise me because this is all the core at the fact that you are developed spiritually and you can do something now that maybe others couldn't do in whatever this environment is. So firstly, we have Ascension Path 4, which is the warm ether. And this is about senses realigning. And I think, again, that's the key. You come from your heart. The environment you're in comes from its head, aligning and realigning these things, and your capacity to do that because you do understand the consequences of choices and approaches and perspectives is part of your gift to do this. And you are naturally on life path 6, which is the server. The ruling planet of that is Venus, so it is about love. And again, that the King of Cups, you come from a heart center and you want to serve others. You do need to be aware that the belief structures you're dealing with were not created necessarily to serve others. I think they were created to serve a ruling class of whatever that means, whether it's in a workplace, politically, or even in a relationship where there was a belief that certain people, certain parties, maybe certain genders or whatever it might be, should be dominant. That's part of what you need to realign and open the heart for. But you come from a very pure place, and so you should be able to do that. Let's get you some crystal chakra energy. We'll ask the interdimensional connections to give you some sort of guidance and affirmation around that as well. Okay, so we've got the third eye in the crown chakra, so definitely again sort of suggesting that you will be getting guidance. You'll be getting guidance from this interdimensional realm. You will have help. You don't have to sort of look at, almost at something that looks like a completely different language to you because it is so head-oriented as opposed to heart-oriented. You will be getting the downloads that you need from that with the crown chakra. There's something about this with the root chakra that is about the foundations of your life. This is why I feel for many this is around politics or workplace or the broader family relations or something. If it is around a relationship, then this goes right to the core of who you are, and decisions about a relationship will depend upon whether you can find your way through the different viewpoint this person has or whether you know that you need to move on for something else. The root chakra here has fire agate with it, which is about protection and karma. And the affirmations, I am divinely protected, and yes, I believe you are. And it is, I clear my karmic debts. So you may have even benefited in some way from these philosophies. And part of your awakening might be about privilege that you've had, and you want to rectify and manage that and clear the karma around it. In fact, it's quite likely with many of you that could be the case, because in an environment like this that is so ruled by attitudes and beliefs and potentially propaganda, you often have to be part of the system to change the system in some way. With the crown chakra, we've got lepidolite with it, which is about dissipation and reorganization. And the affirmations with this one are, I demand that all negatives dissipate. So this is part of you understanding that the negatives are intellectual, they're philosophical. And I reorganize parts of my life often. So you can maybe do some of this through debate, because I do think some of it will need to be through debate. But I think the other side of it is through walking the talk. I think you will start to emerge as a natural leader around this by walking the talk. So let's close out with a couple of things. Firstly, with a card from the Secret Language of Light to ask for some other guidance or energy for you from the interdimensional realms. And then we'll use the Astro Chakra cards for the last pieces of energetic support that you are getting from the interdimensional realms for this. First, we have inward revolution. So yes, I think the change around this, I do think for many of you, this is you outgrowing something. It's you outgrowing a type of relationship, a type of workplace, a type of political belief. It's your own awareness and understanding you're ahead of the pack in some way, or ahead of others around you, because you are not frightened to go into the inward revolution. I do think that some of the people around you with the reptilian and with the greys there are frightened to do that, but you're not. You're open like a book to the energy that's coming to you, and it creates the inward revolution. And again, I have this sense that once you've gone through that, it gives you the clarity, it gives you the words, it gives you the language to speak your truth and to live your truth. And that inward revolution then has a revolutionary effect more generally. So let's ask for 3 last cards from the Astro Chakra deck for you to help with this inward and external revolution, I think, that you are going through at this moment. Pile 1. Oh my goodness, you're all about the heart. This is what I'm saying. If this is coming to you, and this is why you have this connection. You are, I think, in an environment or in a relationship or whatever, as I say, that might have had the less loving and the less connected characteristics about it. But you can't stay within that. You need to go through an inward and an external revolution. You need to be able to transform it, transmute it, or move on, because you are all about love. I mean, this is three cards, all from the 4th chakra, the heart chakra. So, and it's like having these energies combined. So we have Pluto, Mars, and Venus. So Pluto and Mars is all about power. It's all about transformation of power. And here, if you think about it, there's almost a narrative. The transformation of power, which is Mars, by love, which is Venus. So there is something, this could be in a relationship that you transform, or you transform enough to leave to find the right connection for you. But it could also be, as I say, in a workplace, in a family. But you are a force of revolution, but it's because you come from love. So the interdimensional beings have quite an expectation of you, pile 1, but I think also a lot of faith in you. And you do have this energy, and this energy is coming through for you. So I hope that you enjoyed that reading. I hope that it resonated for you. If so, please like the video and subscribe. And if you know what this is, I'd be fascinated to hear about it in the comments. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, pile 2, to your reading. So these 3 cards are meant to give us a bit of a sense of the interdimensional connections that could be linking to you at the moment and why. And I think the dominant card here is the Alpha Centaurian, but I will get to the others. The Alpha Centaurians are very highly evolved species. They are very much on the light side of the scale in terms of dark, light, or a spiritual war. They're very much allies of some of the other species that are supportive of harmony in the universe. And they're very, very highly evolved, and they will only connect to humans when those humans have a level of consciousness that is evolved enough to connect to it. And I think this is the Alpha Centaurians connecting to you because those who've come to this pile have an evolved sort of soul. There is something that you're doing in your life, in your spiritual practice, whatever it might be, that is more evolved, is able to connect to their frequency. And their frequency is connecting to you because there is a mystery to be solved. Because both of these other energies, the mantis beings, which are enigmatic, elusive, again, highly evolved, highly telepathic, and the Ebens, which are potentially even manufactured alien species, but they're all about mystery and reading between the lines and intuition, suggests that the Alpha Centaurians are connecting with you to solve a mystery of some sort, because you are at a point now where that mystery could be solved. So this could be something in a relationship, it could be something about the laws of the universe, it could be a philosophical thing that you're trying to look at. You could also be someone who works in some way in solving mysteries, in law enforcement, in forensics, in science, to find the truth about something and to get to the data that gives better outcomes, be it for health or for technology. There is a mystery that you are either trying to solve now or will be called upon to help solve for yourself, for your community, for the world, whatever it might be. So let's use the tarot to ask the Alpha Centaurians to connect through and to tell us a little bit more about what this entails in your life and what they want you to be focusing on in a mystery, because with a mystery it often is about what we focus on and in what order that helps us solve the mystery. So your mystery means shaking things up at a fundamental level, whether this is around a relationship you have, whether it is around a workplace, whether it is around community, whatever it is. With the Hanged Man reversed, that suggests really shaking up the conventional and being prepared to look at something in a very, very different way and getting clarity with it. I often feel with the Hanged Man, whichever way that card is, whether it's the right way up or upside down, it does connote the need to look at something differently. But when it's the right way up, you get the sense that the person is more developed and more able to do that, because in a sense they're looking forward rather than sort of looking from the perspective of being hung upside down. So I think this is telling me why the Alpha Centaurians are connecting to you. You have reached a level of capacity to look at things differently and to accept change. There is some conflict around you at the moment. Really, it could be around a creative project or a vision, with the Three of Wands there and then also the Five of Wands. There's definitely some dispute around that. The Five is never a major dispute. It's just different points of view. It's things pulling in different directions, and it's going to lead to a major change moment. So it's as though with the Tower here, the Tower energy is always about things that are no longer working and letting those go to go towards what can work. So part of the mystery, I think, is what is it that is this lightning striking the tower, and how will that change, that dissolution to create evolution occur? What does that look like? And how do you move from a relationship or an environment where there's just lots of petty quarrels all the time about what the facts are or what somebody should do or any of those sort of things, to a point where everybody has a common vision and potentially a common direction? And the Alpha Centaurians are saying part of the clue about that is the King of Cups here. That's coming from the heart, from empathy, understanding. So I do feel with many of you that this conflagration is very emotionally based. People have emotional commitments to particular things, whether they be relationships, or if you're in a relationship, the relationship is going to significantly shift, and the capacity for it to shift towards something that is more aligned depends upon probably both sides being able to look at things from the position of the heart and from a more evolved position. I love the Tower card in this deck. When I first got it, I just was really struck by it because the Tower itself looks very ephemeral. It looks to me almost like the tip of a spear in the sword cards in this deck. So I feel as though it is really saying that at the core, when the Tower falls or when the Tower energy comes through, it is first and foremost something that comes through the mind, through our philosophy, through our beliefs, and they are always the things that need to shift to bring about the new in a way that things are going to work. And your capacity, as I say, the work you've already done to look at different perspectives in some ways and to go to the core of something, that's what's going to help with this. It's understanding you have a different way of looking at things and a different perspective, but it's a balanced perspective. It's a developed perspective. And part of it really comes through your mind. This is why I think the mystery is here too. You are someone who is naturally forensic, naturally a detective in some form. It doesn't have to be your job. But that capacity to understand things through the mind, but then process it to connect others through the heart is important here. So let's ask the Alpha Centaurians and Spirit more generally what challenges or blockages there might be that you need to be aware of to bring the best outcome, because I really think that this is moving from an impasse into an aha moment, into a shared vision. But you're the one who gets the lightning bolt. You're the one who gets the channeled information to do that, to solve the mystery, the aha moment. So given that, what challenges or blockages might you have to deal with? I'm sorry if you hear that. I don't know if you can hear my stomach rumbling. Don't know why it is. I shouldn't be hungry at this time of day, but anyway. So people who've come to this reading, you are really highly evolved, I have to say. This is not coming to you for no reason at all, and I think it's coming because of many lifetimes and many connections in the interdimensional realms and the work that you've done internally. But the interesting thing is there is all of this wonderful energy. So you've got the Empress, sort of abundance and nurturing and caring, that I think very much connects to the heart there. You have the World, which is the capacity to bring things to completion, to understand all the patterns within something and make it a perfect whole. You've got the Moon, which is uncovering the truth. You have the Sun, which is bringing you and renewed energy. But this set of cards is meant to be about what the blockage is. And I think we have here the Nine of Wands. I think that there is a lot of energy being put in the wrong directions here. There's lots of going down rabbit warrens around what something should be or what the answer is or whatever. That's why we've got the Tower energy operating here. Like something is going to come as an aha moment to break through this. The point for you, the Alpha Centaurians are saying, is to hold on long enough for that to happen, to recognize that having gone through seeing that something needs to change, the timing then needs to be almost divine timing. You need it to take the time it needs. You need other people to be able to catch up. You have the alchemical power to do that. With the Sun and the Moon together, that is highly alchemical. So I do think some of you are scientists or something like that. There's something scientific or next level technology or something around this for some of you. And whether it's right now or whether that's something that you'll do with your career, I don't know. But there's that sense of the spiritual connecting with also the scientific or the philosophical in some way. But you have always been able to bring things to fruition. You're highly creative as well with the Sun and the Moon there, and then with the Empress and the World. I think this is, whatever this is testing you. You have to wait for that Tower moment. You have to understand that you have to stay true to what you're doing and true to understanding it long enough. That's the only real blockage. It's taking the time that you need to take, because the Tower moment and the aha moment will come. But because you know it, on some level, because you've done it before in this life or in other lives, you know how to bring things into being and into harmony, but you doubt yourself for some reason, and that's the only issue for you at the moment, I think. So given that, let's see what we can do in terms of some advice to help you not doubt yourself so much, pile 2. We'll start firstly with some astrological energy around you at the moment that the interdimensional beings want you to leverage. Okay, so firstly we have the third quarter moon, which is all about release and out with the old and in with the new and the discernment and everything. So I think it is again saying you're coming up to that time. It's not far away for the Tower moment to come. Just keep on keeping on, because Saturn tells you that discipline, control, patience is what's important here. That everything is going to come into alignment. The promise of the Tower moving to the Three of Wands is achievable, and it is largely achievable because of your capacity to bring others along with you, but it does take time and it does take patience. It's also doubling down on the world, because Saturn is the tarot card for Saturn is the world. So you are very much in this world. There is something that you're doing in this world that is important. It is about significant change. If this is a personal relationship, it will sort itself out, I believe. You just need to wait the time to have the aha moment for how to bring the harmony back. But it's mysterious for some reason. But it's not mysterious because of secrets that are hidden, that are in any way duplicitous. With the Sun there and with the world around it, that's not what's going on. The connection between you, if this is about a relationship, is very good, but it just needs time for some reason. Probably for the other person to catch up and tell you something that will free that energy and make it clearer for you. So let's have a look at some gifts. Spiritual gifts that may help you wait in the waiting game until the answer to this mystery becomes clearer. Okay, so firstly we have life path 9. It's again showing that you're highly evolved to be at that level in terms of life path. This is the peacemaker. So yes, you are the peacemaker. In whatever this is, you are the person who will ultimately always find the answer and work out the key to bring people together. The ruling planet here is Mars. So I think one of the things here with Mars and Saturn is you have to deal with your own impatience. You are kind of faster than a lot of people, and it's going to be frustrating, but just keep on keeping on. You can go into the depths with the shaman. So you're a natural healer, a natural peacemaker, but you can move between the worlds. You can use earth magic. You can do all of those sorts of things, but primarily you understand, and I think this might be the Hanged Man coming up, you can look at different dimensions and understand how a philosophy, a belief, a sentiment, a sense of love, whatever it might be, is manifest in different dimensions and in different ways. And there's something in that that's going to help you get the key to all of this. So let's ask for some crystal energy around you to also help you as you wait this out. And some of you, that wait may feel like a dark night of the soul. Particularly, I think if this is around a relationship, you may feel very lost at the moment, but it is saying you have that capacity to walk at that level and to still be connected to the very higher order beings. Okay, so we've got 2 root chakras. So this, whatever this is very fundamental to who you are and to your life purpose. It could be suggesting that in many cases this is around a workplace or something where you are earning the money or the other things to deal with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, if you know that, if you're familiar with that, with security, with having a roof over your head, with all of those sorts of things. If it's not about that, then there is something very fundamental to this about you. But I think it's probably also saying there's something very fundamental about you, the capacity to ground this higher order energy in a peaceful way. So the 2 different crystals that we have for the root chakra here, we have cherry quartz, which is about balance and drive. And the affirmations are, I create a balanced lifestyle and I am driven to succeed. So you are driven and you are a very successful person. If you're young and it hasn't really manifested a lot yet, you're going to be. It's part of who you are because you've brought in an enormous amount of ability, both alchemically and also in terms of abundance and manifestation. So that drive will always be there. And if this is about a career move, you will find the key, but you do need to have the patience. So balance that drive. Red agate gives you positivity and grounding, and I think that's the other side which will help you wait. The affirmations are, I choose to embrace positivity and I feel grounded in this moment. So I think that's just the energy to make you feel, I can wait. Things are coming to be as they are meant to be. The change that I want to see will occur. I have all the capacity to do this. I just need the patience and the belief in self. So let's finish off with the secret language of light first for any other sort of light energy that the interdimensional beings want to send to you. And then I'm going to use the Astro Chakra cards for 3 last messages to you to bring it all together. Okay, so we have Soulcraft. So yes, this is you. I mean, this is very creative. This feels like craft. It feels like the capacity to manifest all those things that the soul is crafted to do. And I think that's why we have the connection to the Alpha Centaurians. So this is not, you're not new to any of this. And if you are young and you haven't really manifested this yet, it's a basic ability you brought in from before. But I think for many of you, the reason that you are the natural peacemaker, you are the person who can heal energies, you are the person who can take people through tower moments into something that is much more sublime and supportive, is because you have done the work, the soul craft. You've done it over lifetimes. So let's finish up with some Astro Chakra energy for you. Okay, so I'm going to go to this one first because this is the root chakra again, and this is really telling me that there is something about feeling safe that's important with this. So I do think for many of you, whether it's in a relationship or a workplace, that tower energy and whether it's going to work out is really key. And there is a sort of feeling like, do I feel safe? I think you, with your love energy, with that King of Cups at the beginning, can make other people feel safe. But I think you also need to go within yourself. Remember what you bring to the table, connect to this very high order energy so that you feel safe as well. And your heart is the way to connect to that, to recommit on a heart level to whatever this change is and to whatever it is that you're trying to grow. And then you can communicate that to others with Mercury there in the throat chakra. So Mercury sits very naturally in the throat chakra. It is all about communication. So you have the communication ability and skill. And then creativity, something with this craft that you're creating transforms things. Your creativity is always about, it's alchemical, as I keep going back to. It's about transformation. It's about purification. It's about evolution. And you're more about evolution and purification than revolution. You're at that next level on. And so it's understanding that, and that can help you feel safe in all of this, because you are being guided and you are being supported. So I hope that that resonates for you, pile 2, and I hope that you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. And if you do know what this is, love to hear about it in the comments. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, pile 3, to your reading. So these 3 cards are meant to give a sense about what interdimensional species or races might be connecting and why. And I think there's a pretty clear message here. We start with the Andromedans, which are possibly the highest order ascended masters in the spiritual pantheon, in the interdimensional pantheon. They're fluid, they can travel through portals and through time, and they are very, very concerned with the ecological and environmental stability, balance, beauty of all planetary systems and all life in the universe. They're highly evolved on that level. And you are somehow connected to that in this earth. You have some form of mission around the earth, the environment, nature in some way. It may just be something that is a great love and a great connection in terms of spiritual relationships. It may be that you are someone who works in environmental causes. You may be someone who works with the land in some way, or you're just very drawn to this, or you do artworks that are connected to nature. There's something in all of this where you have a very finely tuned understanding about the environment and the importance of the environment, and you are connected to that, and the Andromedas are connected to that, and so do the Pleiadians. The Pleiadians have been through what we are going through now, I think, in terms of understanding the impact of our societal structures and our cultures on each other, and on power dynamics, and on environmental concerns, and on our stewardship for the earth, and all of those sort of things. They have gone through this a long time ago, and they have therefore adopted a different form of life to the way that we do it. So I think that the Andromedans are connecting with you, and the Pleiadians to some degree, as a map, a strategic map, to help with what it is that you are meant to do on this earth, for the earth in some way. So let's ask the Andromedans in particular, but also the Pleiadians, to talk to us through the tarot here, to tell us a little bit more about how this is manifesting in your life right now. So there's a couple of levels I instantly get from this, and the first one I get is a very high order one, and this is connecting the 2 of Pentacles and the 5 of Pentacles to the earth element, and I'm getting a sense there about the choices that we make, particularly about what we value with the 7 of Cups there, where we put our strength and our resources, and to what degree we let ego and ambition and competition impact it, will have a direct impact on whether we retain choices about the environment, or whether we are actually in a losing scenario with the environment, where we do damage, where we cause problems. So the first thing is a very high order download to you about helping you to decide, because there is a lot of emotion around all things to do with the environment and whatever you do. So if you are a farmer, there's a lot of emotion, I think, now, and it's very justifiable and understandable about what you can do and what autonomy you have compared to macro things that are happening in the sort of farming and agrarian sort of industries and so forth. If you are involved in environmental politics, there are lots of choices about what sort of scientific approaches to take, or what sort of political or resource approaches to take, and so forth. There's some very big ticket items where the choice is really important, and where the risk of loss on one level or another is clearly there. And one of the issues around it is about where is the strength, because with the Knight of Wands reversed, this is telling me that you're very well aware that there is ego running some of this. And it could be saying you need to think about that as well too. You need to make sure that your connection to this is pure and for the earth outcomes, or the environmental outcomes, or the natural order, or whatever it might be, and not about whether or not you are seen to be an influencer in this or something like that. Now, there's nothing wrong with you being an influencer in it. It's just saying you need to work to your true strength, which is about being able to work out the cost of dreams and the cost of approaches, particularly emotionally. That's why the Andromedans are connecting to you. They would not connect to you if you weren't capable of doing that. But with great power comes great responsibility. So there's a very strong sense of that around you for some reason. Now, whether it is because you are involved in environmental causes or political causes at the sharp, tip of the spear, or whether it's in your day-to-day life, whatever it might be, and how you interact, how you deal with your own health and the health of others around you, for instance, there is a balance between your own strength and then also not letting that make your ego make your choices. Let the consequences of things amongst the vast array of choices be a long-term consequence too, be the thing that takes you forward. I'm also getting that you may sometimes feel very alone in this, that you may sometimes feel that you are having to be strong where there is a lack of clarity and a lack of choice, and sometimes the abuse of power. So I think in that case, this connection to the Andromedans and also the Pleiadians is meant to make you feel less alone. So some of you may be right in the midst of some sort of a battle around this and sometimes feel like all around me is confusion and arguing and petty rubbish, and I'm really trying to not have us end up in a Five of Pentacles type scenario. If that's the case, then this energy is coming through to help you. So given that, let's ask the Andromedans and the Pleiadians to give us a little bit more information about what blockages or challenges you might be dealing with right now. It might help us work out a little bit more about that Knight of Wands reversed. Because as best I'm getting, the Knight of Wands, if that's your energy, if you switch it from being about ego and power and you switch it to being responsible and careful in choices, then that's a really positive thing I'm getting. So let's have a look at challenges around you. Okay, I get very strongly that some of you have a rival or somebody who is threatened by you. Very much so. It may well be somebody who's being represented as the Knight of Wands here. It's someone who judges anything that comes from the heart as being somehow lacking. They are very, very much in their head, and they're quite negative about things. They're quite precise and pernickety about things, actually. And they're threatened by the energy that you bring. And you bring significant energy, this sun energy. You can turn the sun on the environment, really, and take us out of the Five of Pentacles. And they know it on some level. I think you may have a strong emotional connection to this person. You could be in a relationship with them, or they could be in your family, or they could be in your friendship circle. And I think you sometimes feel guilty about recognizing this. And I think you sometimes think you judge them, but they're judging you as well too. And you need to understand that what you're getting from that is right, that there is a competition going on of some sort. You can potentially release the energy and the anxiety around this. And part of it will be about making the choice to focus on, I think, the longer term heart-related outcomes and to reaffirm your strength. Then the sun can come out. But while you let whatever this quarrel is or this competition with this person or group of people happen, it reduces your energy. So the Andromedans and the Pleiadians and Spirit in general are saying to you that you need to get past worrying about the judgments of others, about you, because you are on the right track. And people will maybe use this because I think you're highly moral, and like it's very clear to anybody who knows you that there is a highly decent side of you, and you need to be aware, particularly if you're in political environments or community organizing or anything like that, that some people can use that against you. Some people can tie you up in knots in what they believe is your true inner goodness. They can manipulate that, and they can make you believe certain things or believe that you're not up to something or that you would be selfish or whatever if you did such and such. So don't let them get into your head with those judgments. Stay clear on the energy that you're bringing to things. And if that means sometimes that certain friendships have to be reconfigured, that's fine, because you have a big mission, pile 3. So Given that, let's ask for some of the support that you can get. So we'll start firstly with literally from the stars. Let's ask for some astrology energy support that can help you with staying true to course here, really, not letting other people's judgments or power plays get in the way of what you're trying to achieve. Okay, so this is very much saying that your heart is the key to this. It is the thing you need to protect, because some of these energies are not coming from the heart, but that heart center is what connects you to the interdimensional realms and what connects you to the earth. And it's interesting that we have earth and water together too. So I'm getting that you do need to get that balance right. There's almost like the science of what you need to do, and then there's the emotion of it. Because if you get that balance wrong, if you put earth and water together, you get mud and you get stuck. So the heart is meant to be the thing that gives you the drive towards your creative outcomes, but there is something very material about the choices that you need to make, and you need to get that balance right. It could also be saying that you are a water sign, Cancer, Scorpio or Pisces, or have that strongly in your chart. You might also be a cardinal sign strongly in your chart, Aries, Cancer again, Libra or Capricorn. Cardinal signs are about taking the initiative, being assertive, being a self-starter. So I think it is definitely saying do not let other people tell you should be taking a back seat, or that others should be taking control or leading out or telling you what to do. You are very much connected to energy that is going to be crucial for the world in one form or another. Don't feel that you have to go and save the environment necessarily, if that's not what your job and your calling is. It's just something about the natural world and the manifested world that we're talking about here. So let's ask about what gifts you have to help you with this. Okay, so firstly, over here, Life Path 1, you're meant to be a pioneer. You're meant to be doing something different. You're meant to be initiating something. That's why it's important not to let people sort of suppress that Ace of Wands energy and turn it upside down. You're meant to be the sun. You're meant to be the creative one. There's a creative approach that you're going to have to whatever this is, whatever your calling is in relation to the earth and to your stewardship of the earth in whatever level it is, and you are meant to be the pioneer. And the sun is the ruling planet of Life Path 1. So it's very much saying that's there. Don't lose sight of what your life path is. You have clear cognizance, very clear knowing, and that's not surprising if you're connected to the Andromedans. So sometimes if people try and get in your head and say, no, this is the case or this is the case, go into your own clear knowing, because it's going to be more on point than any of the logic or the manipulations that are thrown in your direction. Because you are going to get some, I have to say. Pile 3. So let's also ask around, crystal chakra energies to help you. Okay, this is, you are going to have to communicate your beliefs. You are going to have to go into the fray and make it clear, because the throat chakra has come up twice here. So how you communicate in the world is going to be very important. To support you with that, we have aquamarine, which is about sensitivity and closure. And the affirmations here are, I honor my sensitivity. So don't let people put that down. It's what's connecting you to these realms. And I create my own closure. So if certain relationships need to end because they're manipulative, let them end. Create that. Stay true to yourself. And I think if that's the case, maybe have some aquamarine with you if you can get hold of that crystal, because I think that will help you. There's also Larimar, which is about enlightenment and manifestation. So to me, it feels like this step first, dealing with what's blocking the circuitry, and then we move to the enlightenment and the manifestation with Larimar. And the affirmations are, I strive to reach enlightenment, and you're pretty close, pile 3, and I can manifest my true desires. And you can. You definitely can with the sun there. That's part of what you're meant to do. And you can take the people around you, the world, whatever it might be, out of what would have been a more lonely and less vibrant future in a very real way. So let's ask the secret language of light. What other support from the light realms we have for you before we close out with the Astro Chakra cards for some last pieces of advice. Transformation. So I think there is a transformation for you. I think this is saying that you possibly have underestimated who you are. You've underestimated your connections. You've underestimated the purpose that you've come into this world, because you have let other people, your wish for harmony and caring in your very open heart, let other people potentially control you in some ways or compete with you in some ways. So part of this is about transforming, and I think very much connecting to the throat chakra and speaking your truth and coming into that sense of the sun. I do think your sun sign is very important in some way. I often say in astrology, the sign that you are born into, where your sun is, it's the life path you're developing into. So there's probably something in the nature of what that sign is that is really worth focusing on in how to really come into your manifestation and into manifesting in a material way what's in your heart. Okay, and speaking of astrology, we will finish off, as I say, with Astro Chakra cards to connect the chakra energies with the astral energies, so that you get some last pieces of advice from the Andromedans and Pleiadians. Okay, so we've got a triple thread of Neptune here. That's your psychic ability there in a nutshell. It's really picking that up. And so that was there right at the beginning. You are very psychically attuned with Neptune there. You are very inspirational, and you will inspire others. That's why your throat chakra is important. That you, once you understand this about yourself and you know what you want to do, you're going to need to speak about it, because you will inspire other people, and that is part of creating the outcome that you're meant to be here to do. But Neptune's energy is spread over 3 chakras here. It is calling upon your psychic and inspirational energy to bring you into more respect with your own personal power. So I think that some of you have let your personal power be abrogated for the peace or for other people's views. It's very important to reconnect with your true inspiration and take back your power. Thereafter, to open up that creative energy of the sun, and to be able to really communicate it with the throat chakra around dreams. You have a dream for the world, or for your community, or for your friendships, whatever this is about. And you can truly bring that into being, but you do have to reclaim your power, and you need to create your future, because your future somehow is going to help other people's future on a very material, environmental, ecological, political, whatever it might be, level. So I hope that resonates for you, Pile 3, and I hope it was helpful. If so, please like the video and subscribe. And if you feel like sharing, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, Pile 4 to your reading. Hadn't changed that over yet. So welcome, Pile 4, to your reading. These cards are the cards that were under the tarot card that brought you here, and they're meant to represent the sorts of interdimensional races or beings that could be connecting with you, and part of the reason why. And this is interesting. I think that there is something in this. There's a couple of things I see instantly with this, and one is that there is something truly magical about you. You may be someone who literally studies alchemy or high magic in some way, or you may be someone who's connected with the search for the Philosopher's Stone, which is the core underpinning of all life. And it's interesting, I listened to an interview with a high magician recently where he was talking about the search for the Philosopher's Stone, and with alchemy is often about having a long life. It's about the extension of life. And the tall whites are extremely old and live for a long time and of an extended lifespan compared to mankind. So I feel as though there's something in you. You are either someone who will have a very long life, that's part of your patterning and part of what you're meant to do, but it's also because there's something you're meant to discover, particularly as you mature, or you will help to make people be able to live longer lives in sort of health industries or in science in some way, or in magic and positive energies and so forth. So I think the tall whites, they're very quick, and I think you're very quick. You get to the core of things, and they tend to be non-political, as do the Syrians. So this is not really a political group. This is more a group about the quality of life and the extension of a quality life. But they also can be quite surprising if you confront them. So you are someone who probably people underestimate a bit about what you have in your kit bag, and people push and push and push, and then they learn they shouldn't have pushed, quite frankly. But you are very, very focused on the good life and the creation of the good life for others as well as for yourself, and for integrity and honesty. And there's an artistic, creative energy to this as well. So there's something that it's interesting with the tall whites. One of the things that they kind of don't always like human beings, but I think they like you. And one of the reasons, I think, apart from the fact that you maybe have a similar sort of energetic wavelength about the longevity and what you can learn and mature over time, is also that they are fascinated by our connection with animals. And so I think that there's something in you that may be very connected to animals in some way as well, and great love for animals. So I think that they're connecting with you because they sort of see something in you that is more like them than they think the average human being is. And the Syrians are connecting because part of that is about integrity and honesty and wanting the good for all in some way. So let's ask them, particularly the tall whites here. As I say, don't always chat that much to humans, so feel honoured, about what message they have for you at the moment. File 4. So I think the first message they have for you is you're much closer to whatever your goal is than you think. Partly you are much more evolved spiritually than you maybe think, even though I do think that many of you may follow some form of high magic or something similar, alchemical practice. It looks as though they think that you feel you've got so far, but you're kind of feeling a bit stuck, and maybe that fortune isn't working for you at the moment to bring it fully into being, to get the Philosopher's Stone. I mean, it's very interesting that we've got the Page of Pentacles reversed here. So it's like, I feel like if this was the right way up, the page would almost be holding the Philosopher's Stone, having achieved it. But they're saying you're closer to that point of celebration you think. And I think they're also saying that maybe one of the things you've done, and again, why you're a bit like them, is you might have felt you had to do all of it on your own. But there are interdimensional energies around you. I think there are also other people that could help you, that are more on the same pathway with you than you think. So I think there's something here where they're saying that for whatever reason, and it could well have been because of competition in the past, or people not understanding you, or even you not fully understanding you at first, and having spent a lot of time in the material world but not in the magical world, but you're meant to be in both. There's something where you felt that you had to be on your own, and you had to find this on your own. But this is about community as well. And this is because ultimately what you are going to try and bring in is something that will be for the betterment of community and something to be celebrated. But you don't have to do it on your own, and that's the key thing. And they, as I say, even though they're not necessarily the most social of interdimensional beings, see something in you and what you're trying to achieve, and see a sense of kinship with you that is unusual. And they want you to move past a sense of, I can only go so far, to understand that with others, with the right other people, then you can really shift fortune, your fortune and the fortunes of others. And literally, if you think of the Wheel of Fortune a bit like a clock as well, the time, this longevity of life. Some of you may literally be involved in science or something to do with longevity of life. And if that's the case, there's a very strong connection and an understanding that you can have a breakthrough, but it is connecting with other people. So given that, let's ask what blockages or challenges there are. And part of it just may be that you felt that you always had to do it on your own. But let's ask them what blockages or challenges are with you at the moment. So it's kind of repeating the same thing, pile 4. Here it's talking about collaboration again. It's really doubling down on that. Part of your blockage is a blockage to collaboration. It may have also been a blockage around romance. You may be someone who feels that you can't connect because there isn't enough of a heart connection with other people, that you feel very much alone, a stranger in a strange land, neurodivergent, one of those sorts of things. So part of the block is understanding that collaboration is still possible, that you don't have to be the same as other people, that you just have to find that sort of same heart center and letting that in, letting others in. It's like, it's not that you're egotistical, it's not that you want to be king of the alchemical universe or whatever, or queen of the alchemical universe, but it is as though there's something that you want that is for you. I feel like I'm getting a really strong sense that some of you have had what was true to you taken away in some way. You've had other people take the credit for things, or you've been not understood for what you could bring. And it's almost like you really feel you have to prove this thing, prove who you are. And I think that is a block for you potentially. It's keeping you with the Page of Wands in the passion for what you do, but not developing it enough. But there is a capacity for a breakthrough, and it is partly the breakthrough to move out of the hermit mode into the collaborative mode, but it is saying that there is almost a dark night of the soul to go through where you do need to be alone first and really work out what is it that made you feel you had to be alone. What is it that sort of intellectually and philosophically you built as an edifice? I love the Tower card in this deck. It's one of my favorite Tower cards, I think, in any deck, because if you see, it looks like the tip of the spear in a sword. It looks ephemeral. It looks like it's something that we create through our own mind rather than something that is materially relentless. And the lightning strike to me says what I think the Tower is really about at its most pure level, which is breaking down those attitudes, philosophies and so forth that we have, having the aha moment. And I think for many of you it will come through meditation or through a period of time alone, but only a period of time, because then you can take a much more fully formed sense of the love that you have for the world and for others out and find the right people to collaborate with. So your block has been something that's happened in the past. Somebody or some people that have told you, you were less than, that haven't understood that what you were doing or haven't valued the same things as you. And it's sort of kept you a little bit caught in having got so far but not as far as you would like. But there's something coming, and this is why they're fascinated by this. I think they're fascinated by someone who is separate in a way, the need to connect. And of course this energy, the Syrians, is more about connectedness and so forth. So it's almost as though in watching you and helping you, and then also seeing the help coming from that area, they are learning for themselves something, which is that's the first time that's come up in any of these readings, that there's a reciprocal energy operating here. So let's have a look at some of the things that can support you. Let's start first of all with the stars, with astrology, and see what astrology energy can support you. Okay, so firstly, Libra. Libra is a planet of balance. It's a planet of social balance and social ease. So there is something in this. There's something about being around other people, finding your tribe and so forth, and doing it in a way that is just, because the tarot card for Libra is justice. The celestial body is Venus, so there is a connection to love and to that connectedness with everybody. So it is definitely saying there's a balance issue here, and that you can get a bit fixed on things because you are very, very good at what you do. And as I say, it's like you've developed a craft in whatever this is. And it doesn't, as I say, you don't have to be a magician or an alchemist. It could be something artistic. It could be something scientific. It could be something technological. You do have a tendency to get a bit stuck in, this is my thing and this is the way it's got to be. And being aware of that and thinking about how to use that energy positively rather than in a way that restricts you is important. You might also be a fixed sign or have fixed signs strong in your chart. So that's Taurus, Leo, Scorpio or Aquarius. I'm feeling particularly maybe Aquarius. There's something quite Aquarian about this energy, but that doesn't have to be a sun sign. It could be moon. It could be, where you have a particular, major planet, major change planet like Pluto or Uranus or something like that. I feel an Aquarian energy very strongly around you. There's something transpersonal about what you do, but you need to get to the personal realm as well. And that is always a bit of a challenge, I think, for Aquarian energies, because they are bigger than just humanity in some ways, and they're ahead of humanity in some ways. So being able to reground that and be in the 3D is I think, a little bit harder sometimes for Aquarians, just as a general rule. So let's look at what gifts you have that could help you with this. Pile 4. angel numbers and ascension path 2. So water energy, water, which is a flow, which is less fixed, which is in the heart with the Knight of Cups. That is a real key for you to get to the heart of what you do. You tend to be a little bit detached from your heart sometimes and more in the science or the philosophy of it. But the ascension path is about water and about the flood of mental emotion. And that, I think, connects to the Tower. Like, it's the emotional aha moment that breaks down what might have been a more fixed or rigid sort of philosophy and allows that connection through that can bring you the Philosopher's Stone. We have angel numbers as well too. So you are probably someone who sees angel numbers, that responds to numbers, that could benefit from looking into numerology, all that sort of thing. Pay attention to when you see things like 1111, 888, 333, those sorts of things. They're probably signals about energy and information that's being downloaded to you for your work. You are here to do the great work, whether that is spiritual for you or whether it is some way scientific or something. But you can't do it all alone, and you can't do it if you stay stuck in one way of doing things. So let's look at some crystal chakra energy, maybe to help you move out of that fixed thing into more that sort of sense of mental fluidity. Okay, so we have the root chakra and the sacral chakra, root chakra and sacral. So I think the root chakra first is why you may get fixed, is that part of this, it's like the foundations of life, and you are security conscious to some degree, and all of those sort of things. You want to make sure that the work is really good, is really right in some way. The beauty around this is that you have fire agate with it, and that's protection and karma. So the affirmations are, I am divinely protected, and you are, and I clear my karmic debts. So if you felt that you got stuck because of maybe karmic sort of issues or a lesser thing in you, that's not what it is. You can clear that out, particularly with the divine thing, because it's really just more about connecting to others. And then we have the sacral chakra, which is all around creativity, fertility, and so forth, and it's about connection. So once we realize that about what's triggering the block, we can move to the area that unblocks it. So we have orange calcite, connection and discovery. And the affirmations are, I feel connected to all things and I am on the path to self-discovery. So it's fine. You're not going to lose yourself by connecting to other people. You'll probably only enrich your understanding of yourself and your path and your purpose and your great work. So let's finish off firstly with a card from the Secret Language of Light, Oracle, about what sort of light energy is around you at this point in time. It says create space. I think in this case there's a two-step to this. The first space is to go into the hermit mode, to have the aha moment and to really feel into it, and then it's create space for the connections. So it's a two-level thing. The light energy wants you to create the space within to really fully understand how much more you can be than you possibly thought you could be, and then how the connection with others helps bring that into being, both for you and for them. So let's finish off with some Astro Chakra energy, just for some last advice from the interdimensional realms for you in moving into this sort of period of self-discovery and then greater connection with others so that you can complete the great work. Okay, so firstly we have two of the solar plexus chakra. So this is about personal power and who you are. And there is a personal empowerment thing here and understanding that you can connect without losing that. And it's interesting, it's like having Uranus and the Sun conjunct. So your life path, your will, your inner self is always going to be strong. You do not have to be worried about that. You will always be the consummate individual with Uranus there. You are not a conformist person. It's again why I think you have this rather unusual connection, this not particularly common connection energy from the interdimensional realms. There's something that is very unusual about you, but it doesn't have to make you alone. You can still connect with others who get you, who understand what you're doing, but they won't, when you connect with the right people, they won't limit who you are trying to be and this as I say, the great work that you were doing. and it will reconnect you with the Knight of Cups with your heart, and it will help focus you, which is interesting because Saturn is there. So in the fourth chakra, the heart chakra, there is a sense of stability, a sense of discipline, a sense of focus. It's like it's the extra ingredient. It's almost as though up in the alchemical process, you have a lot of the sort of earth energy there, you've got the philosophy sort of in place, you've got the kind of ambition, but what you needed to bring in was the connection to others to bring in the heart, and that created the focus that brings everything into being. So there's something here, there's somebody, or a group of people that you're meant to connect with, but first of all, you need to understand about yourself that there is so much more you could do, but the key to doing it is through your heart and through the connection with others. So I hope that resonates for you, Pile 4. I hope it makes sense and that you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe if you haven't already done so. And if you know what this is all about, love to hear about it in the comments. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings.